Hello everyone and welcome to our Game Week 36 preview show. I'm Chris, Kieran, you're here too. How are you doing today?
Well, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very good, I'm good. We were just talking, weren't we? I can't believe it's Game Week 36 now. It feels like the season has absolutely flown by, and the fact we're in May of just like 3 game weeks to go, it's kind of crazy.
Maybe it feels like that because we've missed a few
I
weeks on
know
the
we
channel.
have missed. I know
Whoops.
since
Oh
Game
well.
Week 30 we've missed a few crucial weeks, but
Yeah.
no, I don't think we're missing any more until the end of the season. So let's catch up. So because we've actually missed 2 weeks, we missed our mega point haul. I was thinking if we did a show last week, we would have been like, I don't know, 240, 250 points between us. We had mega weeks in Game Week 34.
Yeah.
I scored like 133. I think you scored 136. I was on bench boost and free hit, so there's like hardly anything in it in the end. But we're like back down to earth a little bit with some more normal scores this week. Cool.
Funny we got the same score as well so far.
Yeah, I know. I've got some bench people coming in, but let's talk about this week. This week in progress, I should say, because Chelsea Spurs is still tomorrow. What did you do going into this week? Remind me.
I took a -8, I think it was. I put Porro in for Bradley, Burn in for, who was it? I can't even remember now, but someone crap clearly to get rid of. And then I managed to keep Gusto, and then I did Salah to De Bruyne. I was looking at Gordon, and obviously Gordon's pretty much matched him for less money, which is a shame. But like I'm kind of happy to have De Bruyne at least in the sort of temporary time of just being a differential of like under 5% effective ownership last week. So I don't know. I just got to keep hoping he turns up, because probably too late to get rid of him again, because I've pretty much stuck with that now.
Yeah, locked into him, because you obviously got the bench boost coming in 37 next game week after this. So I suppose you're sort of building a bit towards that, really. Well, have built towards that. And what did I did similar, really. I had to take I knew I was going to take a -4, but the -8 sort of came because we heard Salah was benched, but that actually turned out badly for me anyway. But I'll go through the first transfers. So I sold Darwin because I just had enough of him and got in Isaac, so that paid off straight away. I sold sold Odegaard for Son, so that came in obviously ahead of the double. And then I wasn't sure what to do, so I had Saka and I had Saliba left, and I knew Saka was going to be on the bench. Obviously, I later found out that Saliba actually was benched, also came on and got a yellow card because I was going to start him, so he also scored 0. I was a bit on the fence about what to do. Like, I kind of wanted Man City coverage ahead of that Forest game, and Foden looked like he was, top pick.
Yeah.
Ended up benching Salah, playing Mateta, and then also playing Foden, but Salah's going to come on for his 1 point. Neto, who's been really frustrating because he got a clean sheet in the second double game week game, and got a clean, and I say Bournemouth have, and he's been benched and not come on in either of them. So I've played him twice. I've missed out on like Travers getting 14 points there, which is pretty irritating. So yeah, bit of a mixed week really. Palmer's obviously blanked for us. Second game to go. You've still got 4, haven't you? Is that right?
Yeah, Porro, Son, Petrovic, Palmer. Yeah.
Okay, so that should be all right. You don't know what you're hoping for there, really.
Tons of goals.
Tons of goals. And Petrovic to come up for a corner.
Yeah, Porro's getting an assist. Petrovic to just get some saves, maybe something like that.
Nice. I'm just hoping for Palmer and Son and lots of clean wipeouts. But yeah, both on red arrows at the moment. I don't expect it to go back up because of the -8 and only 2 tomorrow. But I suppose let's talk about how we can make amends for it in game week 36, shall we? Cool. All right. Shall we start with the early kickoff? Arsenal against Bournemouth.
Sure.
Just to talk on that one first. I think captaincy is, it almost feels like it's obvious again. I was saying to you earlier, wasn't I, that it just feels like we're getting into the final stage of the season, and the fact that Haaland's come back and City have good fixtures feels like it's really hard to bet against him as captaincy. But I think there's merit in looking at Arsenal and Bournemouth. So the early kickoff on Saturday, like I mentioned, Arsenal's home form has been good, apart from that one slip up against Villa recently. So they've had 4 clean sheets in the last 6, which is the best record. 15 goals scored is the 3rd best after Liverpool and City. Had a look back at the reverse fixture at the start of this season. So Bournemouth actually lost 4-0. They got pretty destroyed on that day. Salah returned, Havertz returned, Odegaard got 2 returns, so it was a good day for most of their players. But Bournemouth have been a bit better defensively.
Yeah, a little bit more forward at the moment.
Yeah,
Bournemouth.
absolutely. Yeah, they've been a bit better defensively, Bournemouth, recently. 1.4 XGC away from home on average since game week 30 is sort of in the just about in amongst the top 8 teams. So there's nothing to suggest that it's going to be like a walkover, but the way that Arsenal have been playing recently, absolutely wouldn't bet against it. I'm not going to mention defence. Saliba's 40% owned, Gabriel's 38%, and White 21%. So they're all differentials, really. They're all templates. So I was going to turn our attention to differentials and just get your thoughts on like whether you think, like for people who haven't got a bench boost and have maybe got a free hit left or just nothing at all, how good Havertz still is for this run-in. So they've obviously got Bournemouth and this game week. They've got Everton in the final game week. Everton who are safe. Bournemouth obviously safe. They've got away against Man United, who obviously can't keep a clean sheet to save their lives in game week 37 when, I appreciate it's not a double game week player, but when you look at someone like Havertz and what good form he's been in, it's kind of like a good differential.
It's all good fixtures, isn't it?
Yeah, they are all good fixtures. So, and he's still under 8% or only 8% ownership. 7.5 million. He's obviously first choice now. Like he's started every game since game week 23. 5, 14, 1, 3, 14 and 13 in the last 6. He's had 6 double-digit returns since game week 25. So I kind of feel like if you're looking for like a boost for the run-in, he's barely been in any game in wildcard 35 teams. He performed really well in the derby in the big game. I kind of imagine he'd do similar in the Man United game, and his home form has been good too. I don't know. I appreciate it's difficult for you because you're probably just like focused on the bench boost.
Yeah.
But just I think Havertz just looks like such a good opportunity to get before the end of the season, and differential points there are huge. I don't know just what your thoughts on him really. Just I'm really weighing up getting him this week as a part of a move for Haaland. It would mean like a -8, but I kind of think that differential points across 3 game weeks could be really good.
I mean, you're going to get him for Bournemouth and Everton at home.
Yeah.
Because you've got free hit on 37, because you probably won't have him, right?
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
I think for people on free hit on 37, he makes a lot of sense. People like me who are on bench boost 37 doesn't make a lot of sense. Simple as that, really. Just there's probably better like City mids, Man United mids for the double that seem like a Newcastle made in Gordon and stuff. Like those seem like better options for bench boost. So if you can go there and you have a single game weeker and Man United away, like that doesn't sound great on paper, but at the same time, like it's probably not bad. So I think he's a good pick for sure.
It's really frustrating. I've just been weighing up whether he's worth a move as part of a -8. I wish I could do Salah down to someone like Havertz and then get Solanke up to Haaland, but I just haven't got the budget in the bank for it. So I don't know. -8 at this stage of the season for 2 game weeks seems like a lot.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Given how good his form has been recently, there's no reason why he can't get 2 double-digit returns in each of those home games for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm considering like bringing one of them for like just because it's Bournemouth and obviously Everton and then Man United. Like I don't have any Arsenal now. I've sold Saka. I sold all of my defenders. So I'm just looking at this where like I'm hoping they concede every game at the moment, and that just doesn't seem to be happening. And then I'm hoping they don't haul every game, and that's not happening either because Saka's burned me as well this week. So it's really tough. Because considering I've got Van Heck who's supposed to be out for the season, Ait Nora who's injured playing City and not got a double, Gusto who knows where. Like, do I just bring an Arsenal defender in? Like, but at the same time, if I only get one, it's not going to give me much points in returns anyway. So,
how do you mean if it's not going to give you much points on one return?
Well, like just because the double defense is pretty much template, and if I only have one of them, I'm going to gain pretty much no rank from it. So
I see what you mean.
Yeah, it's
but then but then it's almost like you're keeping up with that, because you're right. Like, what other defense is going to outperform them over this like 2 or 3 game week period?
Yeah,
I suppose, and then maybe a City defender, but
I mean, possibly I would end up with Bruno looks pretty good, so maybe I would want Garnacho. I've got Garnacho. Maybe I'd want Bruno as well. Then I'd be looking for Bruno and Garnacho to score goals against Arsenal in the double, wouldn't I?
That's true.
Yeah,
it does make it difficult. Anyway, I just think he and obviously Arsenal players, not they've been overlooked, obviously, but bench boost, you're right, you're maximising all of the players who are playing twice. And I just think that, yeah, they've got such good fixtures either side of 37, and even in 37, it's worth mentioning. And then, another differential for them who I've been looking at and mentioned before is Trossard, who seems to be sort of fixing that left wing position. He's not really playing many 90 minutes, but he's got an average of 9.4 points per game, which is the fourth highest, I think, of Arsenal mids, or Arsenal players, I should say. So, he's not ranked top, but for 6.5 million and someone that's sort of fixed in that side at 2% ownership, he's not been bad. 1.25 shots in the box between game weeks 30 and 35 on average. Is actually joint second with Palmer behind Bruno. So he has been performing well in sort of on that metric, and he has been returning, not a game against Spurs, but for slightly less expensive than Havertz, he seems like another good differential who's looks like, I can't imagine Arteta's going to change his team too much in the run-in, especially up front. Like made one or two changes maybe, but I kind of feel like
Martinelli might get a start now in one of them, possibly.
Maybe in that Man United game, but I kind of feel like Trossard looks like he's played well basically to earn his position. So like him. But I think it's quite interesting weekend because with Arsenal playing first again, they can put the pressure on City, and I kind of feel like they will roll Bournemouth over. Do you feel the same about that one?
Yeah, especially being at home. I think they'll want to obviously put on a show, get ahead in goal difference again against City, and I think it's on them to just win comfortably, isn't it? There, I'm going to be behind the sofa.
Well, should we chat about City, because I would be behind the sofa if I wasn't getting Haaland this week, because I feel like everything's queued up for him to be the overwhelming captaincy option this week.
Indeed. So fixtures left for them. Wolves obviously at home this week. Fulham away in the double, and then Spurs away as well. So 2 away games. Not ideal for double, but because Man City was fine. And then West Ham at home in 38 looks good for a 3-4-0 there for sure. I just wanted to look at the run-in of what Man City have records been over the last few seasons. So this season, obviously the last 6 games, so far they've had 2 wins out of 2. So good for them. But 22-23, last 6 games, they had 5 wins, 1 draw. 21-22, 6 games, 5 wins, 1 draw again. And then 20-21, they had 4 wins, 2 losses. So they are pretty phenomenal in the last few games of the run-in, and they don't seem to drop points. Obviously, this year in their form in the Premier League, they haven't actually lost in the Premier League since game week 15. So
that's crazy, isn't it?
Their form is pretty damn good right now. So you could probably only really see a good City win here. Wolves obviously did beat them in the return fixture this season. I think it was a 2-1. That could happen again, but probably unlikely. So the person I wanted to mention, obviously, I think he is gaining some traction now, is Vardiol at 5 million, 6.6% owned. The question for me is it too late to pick him up? Because he's obviously had a lot of hauls recently. He's had 9, 2, 0, 12, 6, and 15 over his last 6. So, that's huge numbers there for a defender. He's had 5 times 90 minutes, and then 1 times 45 minutes. So he's pretty nailed on at the moment. But we have sort of seen, that left back position, Ake can play there, Gomez can play there, Lewis can play there, Akanji's played there. We all think he's nailed on, but it's going to take one moment for him to be dropped, and then he's dropped for 2 games. So I can't really see that happening exactly, but Walker's been pretty nailed on the season, so why couldn't Vardiol if he's not injured? So
his scoring prowess has come out of nowhere as well, hasn't he? Because that goal in the Champions League, wasn't that his first or second ever career goal or something like that?
Yes, and then he's had 2 goals recently.
Since then, ridiculous.
So he had 15 points from 0.31 xGI versus Nottingham Forest away last week. So he got 15 points with under 0.2 expected goal involvement, which is obviously good for the clean sheet. But they had 1.64 xGC versus Forest, so they were super lucky to keep a clean sheet there. Chris Wood, as I've seen some troll things on Twitter, Chris Wood, Forest saying they're looking into Chris Wood for match fixing, which is hilarious.
They were good chances, to be fair.
Yeah, he should have got. He should have scored for sure. So he got 12 points again against Luton, which was 0.45 xGI. So he's getting hauls from under 0.5, not under 0.2 expected goal involvement areas. So like, good for him, I guess. Like, it shows that he can do it at pretty much any game. He is practically playing a winger role. Like, he doesn't seem to need to defend all that much at the moment because Walker will sort of drop in onto that side and, whoever else. But yeah, he looks like a great option for me. Like, his stats have been really damn good too. Like, his XG of 0.78 is sixth of all defenders. Shot sixth, which is sixth as well. 0.72 XA, which is fifth. 1.5 XG expected goal involvement, as I said, second of all defenders. And then 44 points, which is second as well. And then on his BPS, he's on 156, which is actually only beaten by White and Saliba at the moment. Wow, so he's like, whenever if he does anything, there's a clean sheet or anything like that, he's probably going to get bonus. Yeah, and these fixtures, Wolves, Fulham, Spurs, West Ham, they look good don't they? Clean sheets. So obviously we've seen that City seem to always just concede one, but yeah, maybe they won't. Surprise us of it. Anyone looking at Ortega, I think that Edison's already been said that he's fine and he should be fine for the run-in. So I don't think Ortega's be an option, unfortunately. But yeah, he's cheaper than Walker, probably just as nailed on. Nothing not to like really for the triple up if you're going for the bench boost in 37. Yeah, what do you think about him?
Yeah, I like him. Just again, it's the classic thing with like City defenders, which we seem to always discuss. But like you're right, you never know. They all look like good options at a time, and we just never know which one to pick. Like I don't think either of us have owned a City defender since just like about 10 minutes before game week 1 or the day before game week 1 when Stones
I actually don't think so, yeah.
So I don't think I've had a City defender all season. And maybe it's, the last 2 game weeks have made it probably look better than it is because they've kept 2 clean sheets. But, notoriously they've not been good for clean or reliable, I should say, for clean sheets. Like in plum home games, they just haven't delivered that like confidence compared to Arsenal. Yeah, to be honest, I don't.
So maybe it is too late.
Yeah, maybe. I don't dislike him. But I always just think with City that like they're more likely to score 4 or 5 and win 4 or 5-1 than a return. But he's been good recently. He's been really good recently.
And anyone on Foden, like you got Foden last week, I feel like he's fine. We were just unlucky he got ill. Like what can you do really? Unfortunate. But yeah, KDB, as I mentioned earlier, nice differential for me at the moment. 6% EO last week. I think people are starting to talk about him. He's 16% owned. But he is going to go up, I think, because obviously the double is coming. These good fixtures, he probably should be in people's teams, right? So, he's had 11, 9, 2, 18, 0, and 3 in his last 6. So, good numbers. He had multiple returns in Champions League games before that period as well. So, good form. Most people are going to have Haaland plus Foden. So, it's whether you go triple with the attack or you go Vardiol / Walker in the defense. For me, like I've already gone for the triple up, so I can't do anything else. But I kind of regret that because seeing like Vardiol's numbers and just seeing Gordon and stuff like that doing and like Bruno and things like that doing the same sort of points for like a lot less money. So is what it is. But so team stats for City, XG of 12.76, which is fourth of all teams, which is not the highest they've ever been. Big chances 20, which is fourth. Shots 117, which is second. But goals 19 is actually first. So over the last 6 weeks, that is. So obviously they're converting the chances, but they're not top of the table with loads of chances. KDB stats, XG of 0.7, which is actually not in the top 20 of all mids, which is disappointing. I guess that's because he just takes lots of shots. He doesn't really need loads of XG and big chances. Shots 16, which is 13th. Big chances 0, which is as I said, takes lots of shots. You don't really see him in the sort of like back post for a tap in, do you? So he's the one providing it. Key passes 18, which is 6th. Big chances created 8, which is first, which is he's creating the chances. XA of 2.82, which is second of all mid. So looking good there. Most of his stats, as I said, are actually beaten at the moment by Bruno, who's like 8.5 million. And then Gordon, while not as good stats, pretty much matching from points at half the price. So for me, I think like Vardiol, Walker is probably a better triple up because just the chance of clean sheets, they're obviously a good defense still. I think KDB's probably not worth the price because there is players doing it for cheaper. But for me, if you like the differential, and we've seen he can go mad in a few weeks, and he has been providing it recently, then that's also not a bad shout. That you can't really be wrong on that either too. So
how many minutes did he get against Brighton? Not Brighton, against Forest at the weekend? Because he played 2 in a row, didn't he? I can't even remember if it was...
Yeah, he got 88 minutes.
Oh, okay, blimey, okay. And I suppose the thing is now as well that you're right, they don't have Champions League to worry about.
Yeah,
so
they have roughly like 5 days between games now.
Yeah, so that's quite rare, I'd say, for City. And yeah, I think KDB will benefit off that, and hopefully
he started the last 4 in a row, played 90 and 32, 80 and 33, 71 and 34, and 88 last week. And then before that, he missed one. But then before that, he started 3 on a bounce before that. So, yeah, he seems to be like mostly injury free. So I think it's, if you want to bring him in, like now probably is the time.
The only game I could see them maybe potentially like he gets a rest would be the first game of double game week 37, or maybe taken off early or minutes managed.
Like, what are they resting for?
Well, maybe that Spurs game, but you're right. Like the City team is so good that like anyone, or they can rotate.
I mean, that is true.
That's probably like the harder game of that game week, and they obviously probably want him to play in that one. So,
yeah.
But no, I agree. I feel like I think you did well to get KDB last week, because you're right. He's not really someone who's that well owned, and he's got the opportunity to pop off in these games. So, no, I like him. What do you think about Haaland captain this week? Should we talk about that a little bit now against Wolves?
Yeah, let me scroll down to my notes. So yeah, 14.1 million, 62% owned. Scored against Forest, didn't take much time to get him off the score sheet. We assume he's fit and fine to go from now on. Yeah, but his stats haven't really been particularly great. His numbers in the points in the league have not been particularly great. Like 5-0, 10, 8, 0, 2-2. Like, so there's 3 blanks in a row, 6, 5, 8, 2, 13. Like there's not many huge hauls there. Yeah, he's had 6 double digits across the season scores.
That's like as many as Havertz has had since game week 25.
Yeah, exactly. So, and he's actually in a genuine golden boot race this year, where he's not blown everyone away. So maybe that's enough to sort of give him a bit of like a motivation. Like he looks pretty motivated when he came on against Forest. So yeah, probably captaincy. Like I said, the stats don't hugely matter to him because he never is really involved in these games. Although he does usually put up good numbers. So I think the majority will be on him. But there is someone else we'll discuss later. I think is a really good captain shout as well. But
yeah, all right. Well, let's move on and talk about another game I wanted to highlight was the Chelsea West Ham game, which is maybe where the captaincy's coming in. But yeah, I just want to talk about this one, but mainly because of Palmer really and the rest of the Chelsea team. I feel like this is going to be quite a high scoring game here, and especially after Chelsea play Thursday night against Spurs in this second sort of quick turnaround. I just thought it could be, West Ham have been pretty poor recently, and Chelsea have actually been, quite open, conceding and scoring a lot. Just thought it had the potential to be quite a high scoring game, and that got me thinking that, Palmer's numbers have been that good. He is probably a worthy captaincy shout this weekend. So between game week 22 and 35, so Chelsea actually ranked the highest for goals at home and score on average 3.4 goals per game, which really jumped out when I was looking at the numbers, because you'd kind of think without looking that's comfortably Arsenal, Man City or Liverpool. So to see Chelsea at the top was quite a surprise really. The defence obviously isn't great. They've averaged 1.5 goals conceded in that time, which is probably part why they have to go more all-out attack. In the same time, so game week 22 to 35, West Ham actually ranked third worst for goals conceded away from home, with an average of 2.4 per game, which sort of ties in with Chelsea's
that seems good.
Attacking, and based on how they've been recently, they're out of Europe, but we watched them get absolutely ripped apart in that Crystal Palace game. So I kind of think that West Ham, perhaps with very little to play for as they approach the end of the season, maybe a sort of, I say very little to play for. They've still got a chance at Europe, but away from home they just haven't been good recently, and that Palace game sort of sticks out like a sore thumb. And then just looking at just Chelsea assets in general, I wanted just to get your thoughts on Jackson really. So I'm obviously making the notes ahead of the second game of game week 35. So I'm very interested to see basically what people do with Jackson. So, I'm not like actively, I'm criticising him as a pick. I'm just kind of saying, after this game week finishes, who are people looking at it to get him for? Like, I appreciate he's got like loads of fixtures because of their back-to-back double game weeks. They've got Tottenham, West Ham at home, obviously Forest, Brighton, Bournemouth. Can see why people who on Bench Boost chose him. I kind of wanted to just hear a little bit why you didn't get him, because, I mean, is it just because he is that bad?
I think it's because I played my wildcard in 30 and I had double defense, and I wasn't looking that far forward to Jackson really. So, like, I think I'm probably going to have to sell Gusto this week because it is not looking like he's not in training at all.
I heard that today.
So that seems like that could be a way to get maybe Pedro up to Jackson. Like, even though,
oh god,
like,
you do it.
I wouldn't mind it because like he just feels like he's a Darwin, but I haven't been watching him and I haven't owned him, so I've not been burnt by just like, oh, he's so rubbish. Like, why would anyone like?
Yeah.
So I feel like if I don't watch the Chelsea games and I bring him in, he has got like a decent haul in him. Like, he has recently got like a 12-pointer slasher. So yeah, the fixtures are okay in the double as well. Like, what is it again? They've got
I think they've got
Forest and
Brighton,
Brighton. Like those are good fixtures.
Hmm.
So and like there's 10 or 11 first teamers out, so that they really have like no other choice but Jackson to play. He'll play most of the minutes. If Palmer is there and fit, then Jackson is probably going to get some points. Like,
I don't know.
I'm not as down on him as other people.
I was just looking at him last week, and then obviously that's why I wanted to talk about it tonight, because I know you've swerved him, and I wanted to like find out why. But maybe you're thinking of swerving him in. But like since game week 28, that's 7 fixtures for him. He's the 9th highest scoring forward. I mean, bear in mind there's like hardly any good forwards, and he's only had 9 shots in the box in those 7 game weeks, and an XG of 1.9 total in that time. So
hey, look, it's better than João Pedro right now. So
is it? I don't know.
Yeah, it is. Like, João Pedro doesn't look like he's ever going to score. He looks so uninvolved. It's unbelievable. Like, he's just doing absolutely nothing. And Brighton have just been so bad that God knows why I bought him in the first place. So like, Jackson just like is probably an upgrade in the paying department.
Yeah, but it probably is an update. All right, I'll give you that one. But yeah, you're right. Brighton feel like an absolute beach team at the moment. They got absolutely slapped by Bournemouth at the weekend, and quite looking forward. I'm thinking about United players for game week 38, and I think there could be some big score in that game. Yeah, all right. Well, should we talk about Palmer a little bit, because I didn't.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. When I loaded into this game week, I didn't think Haaland was coming back because it was on the Saturday and we didn't know about his injury. And my automatic captain before obviously Haaland come back in was Palmer, and I still think, even though we're getting towards the end of the week, he's being overlooked for captaincy against West Ham for sure.
Yeah, so let's see what he does on Thursday.
Yeah.
If he does like a goal, 2 goals or something, then I think he'll definitely be second in line for the captaincy.
Yeah.
And he could start to rival Haaland's numbers. But yeah, his stats are just crazy at the moment. Like, like this is without him playing the second game in the double as well. So he's like well ahead of basically everyone. So the stats are like big chances 9, which is second, which obviously he's not well ahead there. But shots 31, which is first, like well ahead of the next person. I think the next was like 20-ish. XG of 6.3 first, which is well ahead. Key passes 18, which is not so good, 8th. Big chances created 3, which is 10th. So his like assist potential is down, but his like goal potential is well up. And that, we don't mind that. His XA of 1.09 is not in the top 20 of all players, which is whatever. Okay. But his expected goal involvement is 7.4, which is first of all players, and then his percent actual goal involvement is 62%. So he's over half, majority, like 2/3 to be involved in any goal that Chelsea score. So, which
is great.
So maybe that the stats and everything is probably inflated by his monster haul of 26 points, but like he wasn't obviously slacking before that. Like, he had before the 26, he had 5, 20, 15, 13, 5, 2, 10, 8. Like he hadn't been blanking basically at all. And he got 2 last week and obviously didn't feature the week before that. But yeah, this Spurs game is obviously going to be a little litmus test for how he's going to do possibly against West Ham at home. Seems great on paper, doesn't it? So,
and he's like a beast at home as well. Like I'm just having a look at the home scores now. So it's 26, 20, 15, 13, 8, 10, and then 14.
So when he plays at home, go for it.
He just gets big points. I'm just trying to I just think it's a really good opportunity, and I kind of feel like if Haaland wasn't back, it'd be such an easier decision. But it's that FOMO again with that ownership
fear factor.
Yeah, for sure. Because I feel like he's going to be main pick. But like I say, as soon as the the game loaded and I was setting up my bus team, I was just thinking Palmer captaincy for sure. But yeah.
See, you're 54k now. Palmer captain and a Haaland blank when he's man marked by Kilman all game. Palmer, I don't know, Hall gets you to like what? Maybe like top 30k, top 20k.
Maybe you got to think on the. I'm trying to be reasonable about it. And the negatives to not do it are that they play Thursday night and they play Sunday, so it's a short turnaround time. Whereas City have had a whole week off. But
they ain't got anyone else to play. Like maybe he'll be tired, but he'll definitely play.
Yeah. True.
Yeah.
I think it's difficult. It's difficult to call. All right. What should we talk about next? We talked a little bit about Palmer.
Yeah. So Palace, Man United is the other game I'm sort of interested in, especially with the Man United players with the double coming up. But yeah, Crystal Palace's form: loss, triple wins, draw. Not too bad. XG of 8.171 is 12th mid-table, XGC of 9.8, which is 11th mid-table again. But Man United, the more interesting team, obviously with the double, their form is not looking great. Draw, loss, draw, win, draw. So
it just sounds awful.
Not ideal. XG of 9.68, which is 7th 14th, which is okay, I guess. XGC of 13.8, which is 19th. So this matchup probably going to be goals. I expect. Don't bother with defense for the double because 19th XGC is saying that there's going to be goals scored. But I think I've heard that Lisandro Martinez is back in training, so I don't know if he's going to be put straight back in. But they probably need him to.
I just don't know if it'll make much difference, to be honest. But
maybe not. Previous matchup in Game Week 7, Palace won this 1-0 away at Old Trafford. An Anderson goal with an Eze assist. So I think Eze is not a bad option for this week. I'm hoping there's goals in this game with Garnacho looking like he's been pretty unlucky not to get more returns recently. But obviously the one that's standing out, people are probably going to be looking at is Bruno. 8.5 million, 18% owned. So still sort of a differential. Like his effective ownership is probably lower, around like 10%. So I think you could bring him in for the double and be happy if he's returning. So his recent run of form is pretty damn good too. Like 4, 18, 15, 9, 8, 2, 11, 5, 4. Like
that's crazy.
There's one blank in that, all of those numbers that I just said there. So great.
And didn't he get like 2 bonus this past weekend just because he played so well? He didn't actually get any returns. He just got bonus.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, I suppose he did blank, but he did get a bonus. So 4 points looks like he got an assist.
Yeah.
So 90 minutes, every single game, bar one where he just missed it from injury. An average of 1 expected goal involvement over the last 6, which is obviously really good. Bonus in all the games he's returned in lately. Only Palmer on 68 points has gotten more points than him in the last 6. Bruno's on 56. His XG of 2.72 is 5th. Big chances 6, which was 3rd. Shots 21, which is 3rd. Key passes 26, 1st. Big chances created 7, which is 2nd. An XA of 2.96 is 1st. Expected goal involvement behind Palmer's 5.7 2nd. So his basically 3rd to 1st to 1st to 2nd. Like his numbers look good. Good games I think for attacking returns in maybe bar Arsenal, I guess. But United are going to want to probably try and stop Arsenal winning the league, but maybe they'll want to stop City winning the league too. But I think there's goals for him, returns for him. I think if you bring him in, he's absolutely a good pick. These 4 fixtures look good, like Crystal Palace, Arsenal, Newcastle at home, two home games as well in the double, which is a good thing. And then Brighton away on the last day seems like a good area for points for sure as well. So
can you get to him?
Yeah.
Or do you want him? Because I know you've got Garnacho. Sorry.
To be honest, I haven't actually like looked at how I can get him in, but I do want him. Yes. Yeah, just Garnacho feels like quite light on Man United with those just like 2 home fixtures. Like I feel like there should just be returns. Like, but yeah, the other guy, Højlund up top. So if you're looking like getting rid of Jackson or something, or you're sick of him or whoever else, yeah, his form after his injury dropped off, which I feared like it probably would do. Yeah, 4 blanks in a row and then 1-7, then another blank. So since returning, and then before injury, he had 13, 6, 8, 10, and 11, where he's on a major run of like goals all the time. I think he was the first player in the Premier League to get six goals. Not 6 goals. 6 return in 6 games in a row.
Right, that was right.
Yeah, good for him. But yeah, his last 6, he's only posted over 0.5 expected goal involvement once, which is not good. 0.08 versus Brentford, 0.14 versus Chelsea, 0.05 versus Liverpool. Like these are all like 0.00 versus Burnley. Zero goal involvement expected. Like that's
what
crazy.
Was he doing?
Burnley at home as well. That's just like
he only played 64 minutes, but even still, I feel like something's not quite right with him at the minute.
That's probably why he only played 64 minutes because he did absolutely nothing. So for me, like probably not worth considering for the double.
No.
Bruno Garnacho's getting lots of chances. Bruno is obviously doing points at the moment. So those two seem like your Man United players. The defense, I've got Dalot down here. Yes, 5.2 million, 7.5% owned. Yeah,
he's so
cut to the point. He's not worth getting either. Like the defense has been so bad, but like, he's passed 0.5 XGI once the whole season, which is mental. He's gotten 0.00 to 0.05 XA 21 out of 35 games. So he's not even providing fullback what you'd think of like to get a few assists. Like that's not even happening either. So like Dalot is basically worthless. So yeah, don't get a defender. Maybe Maguire at like sort of cheaper if you're looking like, because I've got the Gustos and Aitnoris and Van Hex. Like maybe Maguire's okay. Like I think he had 2 returns in a row, didn't he, or 2 goals or something.
Yeah.
So at that price point, Maguire might be something to look at, but Dalot is just too expensive. Just don't consider him, people.
When he's more expensive than some City defenders, you just think no, it's not worth.
And then just quickly on Mateta, like, he did blank last week, but this is more for kind of next season. Like at 5.1 million, he's so cheap, and he's been like very consistent this season. I think he's like the 4th or 5th top, maybe 4th
minutes.
For the highest scoring forward, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 7th highest scoring forward. So yeah, for how cheap he is, he'll probably be something like 6 million next year, assuming they don't buy anyone. Like he should be someone we consider next year for sure. Absolutely. Like with Eze and Elise fit, like we've seen from that double that they can score goals and he's been consistent. So he looks like someone to look for the future at least. So their fixtures for like going forward are not good. And they haven't got a double either. So hold on, let me see what it is.
No, it's United. I know it's United, Wolves, and Villa, and the United and Villa game at home. Just because I've got him, but like I was a bit frustrated with him because actually I shouldn't say frustrated because he was so good in the double. But like he had that away game against Fulham, and I had Solanke at home against Brighton, and 4 goals across those 2 games for those 2 guys, and no goal involvement. Mateta missed such a good big chance in that game. But you're right. I think looking ahead to next season, if he holds his price and actually has Eze / Elise playing behind him, then he'll be magic. I actually would
assuming someone doesn't buy one of those 2, which certainly could happen.
I think Eze being out against Fulham like really rocked them, and just having that or having him in there just makes Mateta such a better pick. So it'll be interesting to see if Eze returns this weekend. So I want to get your thoughts just on what I should maybe do with Salah. So he obviously had that big argument with Klopp, but then like a day or 2 later there was all the news that came out that they're planning for him to stay, which I kind of thought just made it seem like they were trying to get more money for him, because like it sort of decreases his value to Liverpool if it's like obvious that he's leaving because there's no.
It was a good way to cover it up as well. It's just like, oh, there's nothing wrong. He's staying. Yeah.
He's staying. Yeah, I just thought it was all a bit weird, and Klopp almost looked a bit like nonplussed by it. I thought
maybe he's doing a Sancho and outlasting the manager.
I know. Can you imagine?
Yeah, so it's just because he knows that Klopp's gone. He is outlasting, and he'll just stay.
He can just be bratty. But it's funny though because the whole thing last season, when it looked like he wanted to go, but they didn't want to let him because they couldn't replace him in time. But his form is bad. So I really don't know what to do. Like I kept him last week, sort of partly because I thought Haaland wasn't going to be fully match fit, and also because I like their fixtures. But his FPL form is so bad. He's had 21 points in 8 games since he came back in game week 28 from AFCON, and he's averaged about 3 points per game. So think how much money we've had invested in him. Well, I've had invested in him all that time. So his expected points in that time, it's actually 42.9. So he's underperformed his total points by half. And amazingly, in that time, he's actually had the most shots in the box of all players in the league. So, like, it's obviously just his finishing. He's gone back to like his pre-Roma Chelsea finishing. It's just been woeful. Obviously, he's benched in 2 of the last 3 games, so I can't even be sure if starts. His running is, decent. Like I said, the 2 home games, Tottenham, I think is going to be an open game. Wolves, I think, will be an open game just because last game of the season, and Klopp's last game, I think it will be good. But I don't know. What would you obviously don't have to worry about him just because of the not having a double. But what do you think I should do with him?
I bet you he starts the rest of them, and I bet you he returns in a few of them. Yeah, he's either going to be mad and just score loads of goals, or just capitulate a bit more. But like the sort of the brakes are off for Liverpool, they can just do whatever now. That's either good or bad, obviously. But a little bit of freedom where he can just do anything probably is good for him. I don't know.
I thought they would have like a bit more freedom in the West Ham game because they kind of thought they would be out of the title race almost, but because from a difficult position. But I felt like they still just didn't have that same hunger in that game.
You don't have Triple City yet, do you? So
no, I don't.
No, so you could bring KDB in is an option. Bruno is probably an option for you. So you could do anything with that money. So it depends if you like the alternatives better.
I know. It just seems, given what we know in previous years, it just seems so difficult to sell him before, like 2 good games, and potentially what if I ignore what we've heard, it's just like 2 of his last games, but his form has been so woeful, and as players doing better, it just kind of makes sense to sell him. So right.
It's tough one.
Yeah, have we got any more to chit chat about, or should we just share our teams?
Just go over the teams,
Let's do it. All right, I'll start this week. Why not? So, like I said, the main issue I've got this week is working out who to sell to fund Haaland. So, I think I'm going to get him in. So, Solanke's going to go because he's got away games against Arsenal and Chelsea either side of the free hit. So, the fixtures aren't great, and also he's obviously got a bit more money in him than Mateta. So I think the main 2 routes I've been looking at, I can either take a -4 and get rid of Salah and buy Garnacho, because I quite looking at basically if I do that, it's only -4. I've only got 6.5 million to use, and of 6.5 million for midfielders or less, his numbers are way better than everyone else's. Apart from Gordon, who I don't fancy because they've got 2 away games, and he's only returned twice away from home all season. And I'm not really sure I like the double up with Isaac now, so. Garnacho's maybe the other one, which is a bit more ballsy, is Solanke to Haaland, Salah to Havertz, and Neto to, I don't know, Ortega, who I know won't play, but like a goalkeeper around that sort of range. Don't know,
it doesn't even matter for you, does it?
But it doesn't even matter, so I don't know. I don't really like that one as much because I'm just taking a hit and getting no comeback on it. Fatality in the chat says Salah and Solanke for Gordon and Haaland. Yeah, to be honest, that or Garnacho is probably my preferred pick because I'm free hitting in 37. It's just thinking about what I'm going to come back to, and I quite like coming back to this really.
Do you like Gordon for the? He's had like 2 returns, like
Yeah,
away all season, I think it is, and he's got 3 out of 4 away games for the rest of the season.
yeah. That's what. To be honest, that's the bit that puts me off about Gordon, because I was a long time owner until like probably about game week 27 or game week 28.
I haven't owned him all season
Yeah.
somehow, and he's
done so
burnt me a
well.
lot. Yeah.
But you're right. I only knew or only felt like he was ever going to return in those home games, and I think the away game he has returned in was that Sheffield United game. So, don't know. As you know as well, I also don't like doubling up too much on teams. So, yeah, double Newcastle. I kind of like the idea as well, which is, I appreciate this is probably not the best way to play FPL, but I like going into the last game week of the season thinking I've got 7 or 8 teams to check on from I've got 7 teams to check on from an attacking point of view.
Yeah.
And by doing Garnacho and Haaland, I'll have nearly that. So yeah. Anyway, so that's what I'm thinking of doing. Let's switch over and talk about your team. And obviously, and captain, I think Haaland. Sorry, by the way, it just makes sense. I think it'd be risky to go against him, and especially this close to the end of the season, he could haul.
Yeah, makes sense.
All right, here we go.
Yeah, so it's looking like a bit of a shit show. I've got your problem, like you had before, your bench boost of just like defenders, just shit in the bed and getting injured, and but your defenders came back before
they did.
Came back in time. But whereas that is not going to happen for me. Van Heck apparently is out for the season. I didn't even know. Apparently that had happened before the deadline last week, but I had no idea. Gusto not been in training at all yet. Ait-Nouri, I think it's just a knock, but a small knock to his knee, so that's a worry. And he's got
fixtures are so bad as well.
Yeah,
for Wolves.
and he's got City, Palace, and Liverpool, so not good at all. So I probably need to sell him too. And then I have to play Porro against Liverpool away this week, which is awful. And then I've got João Pedro stinking up my bench as well. So yeah, I took a -8 last week. I feel like I need to do maybe like a -4 again. It's just bloody defenders on the like bench boost, but that's a week early because they'll probably get injured anyway as well. So I mean, it's a shame because Brantwaite obviously has just had his double and doesn't have a double, but he's got Sheffield United in 37, which doesn't seem bad on a bench boost. Gusto, Gusto out to someone, and then I can maybe go Pedro up to Jackson.
How much money have you got in the bank from here?
I have a good amount at the moment. I have 4.7 million in the bank at the moment.
Okay,
so
nice. Okay.
There's things I can do. But I'm pretty much locked in for the City mids. Son will probably obviously stay. Garnacho is going to pretty much have to stay. Palmer's going to have to stay. So I don't really have any area to get Bruno in. So it's around that Pedro pick is just going to be what I have sort of leeway with, I think. And then it's just getting the right defenders. But unfortunately, none of the defenders seem to be very good for the sort of double because I can't get a City defender now. So it's probably Maguire.
It'd be mad.
Unfortunately,
it'd be mad, wouldn't it, to take like De Bruyne to, I don't know, Bruno, and then a defender to a City defender, because it just probably seems like a bit too close to take a hit for that, I suppose.
Yeah, I agree. Fatality saying maybe get Arsenal players. I don't know. Bench boosting. Do I bench boost against Man United in the double? I don't know. Seems weird. But their fixtures, the last 2 are really good. So, hard. At the moment, I just generally don't know what I'm doing. I'm gonna have to sell Van Heck, and I'm probably gonna have to sell Gusto, and it's just for who I really don't know them.
But you could sell them across 2 weeks, I suppose.
Yes, I could not take a hit this way. I could just get Van Heck out for maybe Maguire, something like that, or just maybe Gabriel or White. We'll see.
Yeah, no, I like it. Okay, well, it's tricky. You're right. All my players came back, but I haven't heard anything about Gusto and Van Heck. Even though his flag's not red, The only thing I heard was that he was out for the season, but I haven't actually seen anything.
I've heard it on Twitter as well that he's out for the season. So he's about like 6 weeks, which is out for the season.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And Out-Nori's just got 2 bad fixtures. I feel like we got him both at the right time, and he had like chances to haul, and he just got either injured and missed some good looking games. It was really frustrating.
I mean, Out-Nori I probably won't sell this week because he's got
who's he got in the double?
It's a Palace at home.
Okay.
Which is not the worst, but it depends if he's fit. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think for the for this game week, it looks good, but it's just making sure you get the right players. For
who would you play out of Onana and Petrovic as well?
I'd probably play it like you've done it, to be honest. Yeah. If Gusto was fit, I'd probably play Gusto obviously, and then also play Onana and spread it a little bit. But I kind of feel like that West Ham Chelsea game is going to be high on goals, and I wouldn't trust Onana to keep a clean sheet either. So I think there's probably little in it again.
Yeah, double Chelsea defense was such a mistake. Like they've been so bad. Yeah, I think they got 1 clean sheet for me when I played both.
Oh yeah, I remember.
That was like everything coming home to roost at one time. Yay! Yeah.
Cool. All right. And Haaland captain.
For now, I am certainly tempted by Palmer. Yeah.
I'll have to see how confident I feel by the end of the week. Cool. All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us. And we will be back next Wednesday. Enjoy the rest of this game week 35, and then hope game week 36 works out. And thanks for all your questions and comments. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe. And that.
Yep. Chisel.
Super.